17th. Has appropriate meeting notification been made?
Yes, Your Honor, it has.
Thank you, and welcome guests. Would we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and again, welcome everyone. Roll call, please.
Alderman Rozak,
Here.
Alderman Zaffel, Alderman Ellis.
Here.
Alderman Spiegelberg.
Here.
Alderman Mulder.
Here.
Alderman Shellpepper.
Here.
Alderman Kavieski.
Here.
Alderman Rogers.
Here.
Entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes for October 20th, 2020.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Do we have any comments or suggestions from the citizens? In the back of the room, there's a blue card. Do we have any comments at this time? I have not received any request so far. No comments or suggestions. We'll move on to our consent agenda items A through G. Is there a motion to be entertained here?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Call roll, please.
Alderman Rozak,
Aye.
Alderman Zaffel, oh, excuse me, he's not here. Alderman Ellis.
Aye.
Alderman Spiegelberg.
Aye.
Alderman Mulder.
Aye.
Alderman Shellpepper.
Aye.
Alderman Kavieski.
Aye.
Alderman Rogers.
Aye.
Next on our agenda are committee reports from the Protection and Welfare. Consider and act on ordinance to repeal and recreate the multiple ordinances outlined in A1. First reading.
I'll move those changes to the ordinances provided and waive a second reading.
Second.
Any further discussion? Call roll, please.
Alderman Rozak,
Aye.
Alderman Ellis.
Aye.
Alderman Spiegelberg.
Aye.
Alderman Mulder.
Aye.
Alderman Shellpepper.
Aye.
Alderman Kavieski.
Aye.
Alderman Rogers.
Aye.
Objection, do you wish to waive the second reading?
Yeah, I moved it with a waiver of the second reading.
Oh, I didn't hear that, I'm
Yep.
sorry. Thank you for doing that. I missed that part. On to utility, please. Consider an act on proposal of the 2021 utility budgets. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Call roll, please.
Alderman Rozak,
Aye.
Alderman Ellis.
Aye.
Alderman Spiegelberg.
Aye.
Alderman Mulder.
Aye.
Alderman Shellpepper.
Aye.
Alderman Kavieski.
Aye.
Alderman Rogers.
Aye.
Next up is our Plan Commission. Mr. Gallo, consider act on final subdivision plat for the Pine Ridge Estates West, locating west of the Pine Ridge Estates 2. Mr. Gallo.
Thank you. Item 8A on the agenda is the final plat for Pine Ridge Estates West. The plat would approve 45 single-family homes. The area consists of 18.3 acres, and it's located, as mentioned, west of Pine Ridge Estates 3. Works out to be about 2.4 dwellings per acre. The city approved the preliminary plat for this back in March of 2020. Since that time, the developer has been installing the infrastructure up there. This final plat resembles the preliminary plat regarding the number of lots and the road layout. There was a change in the ordinance since we approved the preliminary plat regarding street trees. The developer will be required to have, this development will be required to have 57 street trees, which we are charging the developer $500 per tree. The developer's agreement was approved and stated in there that the developer shall pay the city prior to signing of the final plat $28,500 for the installation of street trees, which we'll put into an account that'll be earmarked specifically for the trees in this development. The Plan Commission reviewed this plat last week. They recommended approval to the Common Council. I am here, and the applicant's also available from Newman Development to answer any questions that you might have.
Alderman Rozak.
This was the development that the town tried to stop because they weren't going to give the extra road.
Road access, right?
And we decided at the time about 6 months ago to just let them go ahead without that extra access. So I think we made the right decision 6 months ago. It's nice to bring up when we do something very good, allowing this development to move forward, and hopefully they can figure out access issues as necessary. So I'm glad they're moving ahead.
I'd entertain a motion.
Moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Call roll, please.
Alderman Rozak?
Aye.
Alderman Ellis?
Aye.
Alderman Spiegelberg?
Aye.
Alderman Mulder?
Aye.
Alderman Shell Pepper?
Aye.
Alderman Kavieski?
Aye.
Alderman Rogers?
Aye.
We got to slow this down for the new city administrator. Get into some.
I think he's done a wonderful job because it's now 9 minutes in. No, it's actually 7 minutes in.
Got like 3 items left.
This guy's great.
About time we have somebody good. The last guy was kind of rough. On to some new business, please. Consider act on developers agreement for the Paps Farm Apartments, Mandel Project, Hackney Apartments with Polly's Wash Tub South, Land South LLC.
Right here.
Attorney Riffle.
So this is, very familiar to you all. This has been batted around for a long time. They're ready to proceed. They're getting their financing in order. This is a standard form developers agreement. It incorporates everything that you folks have required of them, and I recommend approval.
Alderman Rozak.
2 real minor questions. One's just a comment on page 2, this developers agreement, which is 89 in the packet. We've got the school, one of the things we wanted added was the Schoolhouse Road access, which is in there, so that there's an additional access on the other side. That's great. I did have a question. Are they part of the Paps Farm Stormwater District?
Yes.
Okay. There was
And
a
they
little-
have Paps Farms, and I've cleared this up today,
Okay.
that Paps Farms is going to, Peter Paul Bell is deeding over some land for the stormwater pond. I had to try to clear up, Alderman Rozak, whether or not I represent the stormwater district. I'm still not real clear that I should be, but I'm going to be, and I'm going to approve the quitclaim deed tomorrow.
Okay, good, because part of it on page 4, this developers agreement was a little unclear that they were part of it, but then it says Paps Farms Joint Stormwater District on paragraph 6, so I think that.
Yep, no, it's all good.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Kavieski.
I'd just like to make a quick comment that I am excited to have this project at its point and look forward to it breaking ground next year. I think as the economy is shaking out, our community is positioned really well for the activity that's pending. You're part of that. And there is some concern in regards to some elements associated with the multifamily. I think it is going to do nothing but create a more vibrant community. We've done our due diligence. Thank you very much for working with the staff, with the community, with this council, and I'm excited to see it move forward.
I'd like to entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Any further discussion? Call roll, please.
Alderman Rozak?
Aye.
Alderman Ellis?
Aye.
Alderman Spiegelberg?
Aye.
Alderman Mulder?
Aye.
Alderman Shell Pepper?
Aye.
Alderman Kavieski?
Aye.
Alderman Rogers?
Just really hurts me that we got a developer in here that we can't beat up a little bit, so.
We already did that. We did that 8 months ago.
He's been beaten up and healed.
bruises to prove it.
With something next.
Saving it for Olympia.
Thanks, Ian.
Next on the agenda for new business is consider act on holding virtual council meetings through January 19, 2021. I'd like to open that up for discussion.
Okay, I'll start.
I don't think we should. I think we've taken every necessary precaution possible for us to be able to hold a meeting face-to-face. I want to thank you all for the little box here. I think that's really important. I see the majority of us are wearing masks. We understand that we're here, and we don't want to either bring it home or attract it ourselves. I get that. I just personally, it's my own personal opinion, I don't believe that holding a virtual meeting is going to do anything more than what we're currently doing right now. What is this, 10 minutes? Really? So I don't see the purpose in us going virtual. I think it's a fad. I don't think it's really necessary.
Alderman Shell Pepper.
I think we need to find a way to make remote access, though, available to aldermen
yes,
who
yes.
can't attend in person if there's an issue like Alderman Zapfel tonight. I mean, it's not okay that he can't speak on behalf of his constituents tonight because of the circumstances he's in, and could happen to any of us. So, you know, I don't know how the rest of the council feels, but at the very least, we need to have a remote option. So, and possibly for staff as well. That's another concern I have, is making staff come here. If there's options for them to remote in as well, I think that's something we need to consider.
I agree with that.
Alderman Kavieski.
I would concur. Operationally, I think that option, as I experienced it in my closet,
Finally came out of the closet.
knock them down.
We were all thinking.
It was getting kind of crowded in there with you, so I figured I'd come out first. But
Way
but
to be a leader, Lou.
To do both provides those options while maintaining proper operations here in person and face-to-face. I believe we have the technology and the capabilities to do that, so I'd support that.
Alderman Spiegelberg.
Well, I really went back and forth on this, and I don't want this to become something that's political, because, as we know, this whole issue has become political. I finally settled in today on the thought process. First of all, I was thinking, I like it when we're in person. I think we're very effective, like bouncing ideas off of each other, and I really like that. However, the bigger picture is that we need to be effective as a council going forward, and with everyone either in good health or able to contribute. I'm not sure if I like the hybrid version of doing part in person and part virtual. I think that would be kind of difficult to navigate that, and then we're also potentially asking our department heads to be here in person or try to tune in virtually. So I think my vote would be to go virtual just for these next 4 meetings. If we had anyone who was positive or who was sick, we could still be connected virtually, all of us, just for the next 4 meetings until some of this kind of settles down a bit. Let's face it, it's a fact. The counts are up. Obviously, the death rate is very low. 99.9% of people recover in the general population, 95% above in the compromised population. But I guess I would like to see us go virtual for the next 4 weeks, and then we come back together. I think we can be more effective doing that as a council in the best interest of our constituents.
Alderman Rozak.
I'll go ahead. So I'm with Karen. This is a tough one. I talked about it with my wife. I've thought about it a lot before coming in today. I think the smartest thing for us to do at this point is to be safe but open. And we've created a pretty safe environment here. People are wearing their masks predominantly. I'm wearing my mask, but I will take it off when I'm talking. Otherwise, it's just muffled and it just doesn't come through. But we've got people working at Target. They're working at Starbucks. We've got an important job, and I agree with you, Karen, on one point, which is we're pretty effective talking together. So what I think we need to do is have a plan in place for people to do remote if they need to, or they want to, or they have to. I agree, John should be able to appear remotely right now. That plan should be in place or should have already been in place, given what we're dealing with. We've got some really big decisions coming up. Olympia Fields is gonna be a big, big decision, and I want that developer to stand there and look me in the eyes and tell me he's gonna guarantee the project. That's really hard to do over Zoom when there's 15 screens, over the computer. I also think on big projects like that coming up, that the community should get a chance to come in and talk about it. One thing I also agree with, I don't think the staff need to be here for every meeting, and to the extent we can keep you virtual, or maybe if you've got something really important, like Lori's got to make a comment about a budget amendment. She does that, we vote on it, you leave, And so we would really reduce the amount of people that need to be here by a lot, by 50%, and we can continue the debate, listen to the public. So that's where I'm coming down at this point. Safe but open. I think that's what we want all of our businesses to do, is to stay safe and open, and I think we should do the same.
Alderman Mulder?
Yeah, I spent a lot of time thinking about this as well, and honestly, I had more constituents contact me in the past day on this issue than I have on much larger issues. All of them unanimously on the side of we shouldn't be in virtual, not in person. Two of them commenting that we have aldermen sitting here without masks on, and they questioned why you weren't escorted out. And I said, well, that's not possible, but I share their sentiment. I don't understand why you feel it's okay when we ask our staff to mask up every day. Kevin, I completely disagree that this is safe and the best we can do. This is about the worst we can do. Honestly, this is like the minimum that should be happening. And I could totally see one of us having it and several of us getting it 5 days later. There's a study that was out in Waukesha County. If there are more than 10 people in a room, there's a 42% chance somebody has COVID. So there's a good chance somebody in here has COVID right now. I do agree with you, Matt, that things are done better in person. I think we could come up with a much safer way to do this. I had one constituent wonder how she was supposed to make comments because she was not comfortable being here, doesn't have a remote option. So I think we can take that. I think we should find a bottom line. I think we should find a way for the council to continue to meet in a properly social distancing with masks on, and find ways for the community and members of the council that can't be here in person to weigh in. Because we're not, honestly, in this time, we're not giving the community the proper opportunity to be present, because for many of them, they simply can't be. They can watch, but that does not give them a voice. So I don't really know where I stand, I guess, but I do think that we work better in person, and a hybrid model should be in place.
Administrator Trebetowski?
Yes, well, I did receive communication from Alderman Zapfel, and he wished that it be read at the meeting this evening, so I'm going to do that at this moment, if that's all right.
Go ahead.
So Alderman Zapfel's statement is, "Good evening, Mayor, members of council, chiefs, department heads, staff, and members of our community. I appreciate the opportunity to have my statement read this evening. I personally wanted to be in attendance this evening, but am not able since my oldest son was sent home with symptoms of COVID-19. Per the guidelines of the Oconomowoc School District and the CDC, I am home waiting for the results of our COVID-19 test results. If the test results are negative, I could be in this situation again at our next council meeting and not able to attend. I would love to be part of the meeting to conduct business for my constituents, but am unable. I'm watching the meeting via YouTube with the other members of our community who are watching from home or work. But right now, we have to go to the experts and consultation with the CDC, Waukesha County Health Department, and other folks. We need to follow science and the experts and conduct our business while keeping everyone safe. We must start fighting this virus together, and we must start tonight. I am asking for your support to meet virtually. As a council, we can still conduct the important business of the city in an online forum without putting our own health, the health of our families, and the health of our community at risk of further viral spread. In fact, many other government entities are taking this step from the Wisconsin Supreme Court to our own Oconomowoc School Board. Even the Wisconsin State Legislature met before I took my oath of office in April of 2020. Wisconsin has become a national hotspot for COVID-19. We once led our region in containing this virus, but now surges in our state rival what we saw in New York City this spring. We should not be prioritizing politics over this pandemic. We should be listening to the experts who are advising us. We must listen. I would like to express my strong support for the council to meet virtually to protect you, your family, myself, my family, and members of the community. And yes, we must keep supporting local businesses, restaurants, and workers by sticking to curbside pickup, delivery, or using online ordering whenever you can. They drive the economy in our community. The viral surges we see, the new cases, hospitalizations, and deaths, these are not the end. These are predictable and preventable. That means the fight against this virus is winnable, but only if we fight it together. Let's take this common sense approach to protect our health and the health of the community. Let's move forward together. Thank you. Alderman John Zapfel.
Alderman Kavieski.
So I think it's interesting that Alderman Mulder called out there were 2 aldermen here without mask on as we sit with dividers in front of us. I did wear my mask into the building, and as I was communicating with others during conversation prior to this, and I took it off in order to conduct this meeting with dividers and social distancing. Virtual signaling and trying to do things that aren't required or necessary with other precautions in place. It's just not my thing. And if you don't wear a mask, there are valid reasons for not wearing a mask, and for me, it's not my business. It could be personal, it could be medical, and I trust that you're making the right decision for your situation and for those around you. That isn't necessarily the point of the discussion for keeping our meetings face-to-face or virtual. We, as elected officials that represent our community and our respective districts, are best served in meeting in person. We can do that in a safe manner, and we are currently doing that in a safe manner. If a situation like I had, or Alderman Zapfel has, where you have to remote in order to participate and represent those who elected you, should be in place. At the same time, our public should have an opportunity to provide their voice in public comment, and that can be done via email as well and be read via the administrator or the mayor, or we could maybe find a way to bring them in virtually. There are ways to do this without going 100% virtual and conducting our business, and I would, again, strongly recommend that and support that.
Attorney Riffle?
Well, you're absolutely right, Alderman. If you're going to bring anybody in virtually, you got to allow everybody in the world in virtually. And as long as we can accommodate that from an IT perspective, where everybody has an equal opportunity to participate, then that is the case. I am, representing many municipalities. We've had some hybrid situations where there is the ability to have a hybrid, in-person and virtual situation. It's not easy. It's not easy, but legally it is possible. It's difficult because, and I hope that when this pandemic is over, that we all recognize that you can't do it virtually. You can't have an alderman sitting at home, and everybody else is here. During this situation, it is possible. It's not easy. I don't think it's cheap. You have to have a situation where if you have something up here, that everybody at home can see it. It's got to be as if everybody's here, that everybody can see everything and everybody can participate the same way. So it is possible, and if it IT-wise is doable, then yes, you can do it.
Alderman Ellis.
I also, to be more specific, I really do think that we should have that option. And what I was thinking here was, there's been a couple of times when I've had to do certain things at the gym, or they have something called Facebook Live, which gives you the ability to have on time that meeting of some sort and have the public go ahead and respond to whatever is the issue at that moment. So that's just an example of something that we can do. I think, Matt, I agree with you. The bottom line here is that we do have some major projects that are coming up. And I really want to have the ability to ask that individual, look at them straight in the eye, and make sure that our constituents are being heard, in a sense. Yeah, I'd love it if we had that option now, because I'd love to hear what he had to say. Okay, so I would absolutely be in favor of doing something live, as well as giving people the option of going to the internet.
Alderman Rozak.
I'd like to think that I'm a little bit of a problem solver. I think Matt brought up some really good points. I think we could, when we first were shut down, we did a bigger separation up here. We put Stan, city administrator, back there. We limited the amount of staff, and then we spread out. Basically, I had a whole space between me and Andy. Maybe keep up the dividers, keep masks on as necessary. I think that would accomplish a lot of that, would create that separation. I mean, we still have to carry on with our lives, and there are really, really important decisions. So I think taking what Matt said, taking some of what I said, and a couple of us others, we could do this in person, make it really safe, and stay open, like we're asking our businesses to do. We're asking them to stay safe and stay open, whether it's the Culvers or it's Sobeys or it's the gas station. They're staying safe, they're sanitizing, they're wearing masks, they're social distancing. I mean, those are part of the CDC guidelines too. I mean, the CDC guidelines didn't say stay home forever. It said social distance. I mean, social distance is the key ingredient here. So we can separate more. We can move a couple guys from the dais and Diane out there, sit them in the corners. We don't need to hear from Stan that much anyway.
That's true.
We hope.
You guys, because it's great, you
And
guys
then-
get yourself in trouble, and then I make a lot of
Right,
money.
then you make a lot of, yeah. So,
That works.
and then have the virtual option, right? Give the community and folks that can't make it, or like John, or quarantine for whatever reason, or it could be me next week, a chance to participate virtually. I think that's the solution in my head, so.
Alderman Mulder. I think you were first.
Okay. This is probably more complicated than we want to make it. Today's meeting could have been virtual and no one would have missed it or anything, because without this topic on the board, there wasn't really much to discuss. When we get around to talking about larger issues, I'm wondering if, for those larger, do we do a hybrid in the sense that there may be a meeting or two out of the next 4 where we do want to be in person, and the ones that are a little bit simpler? Or maybe we just say, the time when we know Olympia Fields is going to be on there, we agree to meet in person, and the other 3 times we agree to meet virtually. That's more complicated than we probably want to do it, but in the interest, and I'm trying to be respectful to my constituents as well, who asked me to vote virtual. So I'm listening to their advice as well, because I do think that discussion is going to be difficult to have not in person.
Yeah.
I would just like, a question I guess I have is are there any other locations that potentially the council could meet? I know that this is a conducive environment for it because it's set up for council meetings and that type of thing, but I don't know if there's any other public facilities that would allow
Not
for
with the
greater
live-
distancing?
With the live
Me-
feed.
Yeah.
We have the live feed, video feed,
Oh, okay.
but it still could be set up if we wanted to. Alderman Spiegelberg.
I mean, maybe the new public safety building, but
Just thinking of that too.
you know, we have this horseshoe format in here that we really like. I have to echo a little bit what Alderman Mulder is saying as far as the sentiment that we've gotten from our constituents, and that's who we serve. I'm hearing from most people that we want to do in person or some type of a hybrid. So, couple things. What does that look like? If we do separate out more, do we potentially ask everyone with an abundance of caution to wear a mask just for those next 4 meetings? Do we do, like he said, we do some that are virtual, the important ones that are in person? I don't know what the answer is. I mean, we can swirl around with a lot of different thought processes, but I think we need to find out what everybody feels, get a motion on the floor, and move from there.
Sounds like she wants to make a motion, Mr. Mayor.
No, not necessarily. I think maybe there's still some more discussion to
Alderman
be had here,
Kavieski?
but,
I'll make a motion that we make an effort to create a virtual option along with our live in-person meeting structure. If operationally you feel that best served to be held at the Public Safety Building or another venue to allow for greater social distancing, I would support that. If the technology provides for the ability for the virtual integration. But again, my motion would be for live in-person with a virtual option for those who can't attend, whether it be part of council, staff, or community.
I second that with the caveat that staff doesn't have to come if they feel that they don't have to.
Alderman Spiegelberg.
okay, I would like to add to that, if we potentially could, that we would ask everyone to wear masks for these next 4 meetings. I can't stand wearing these masks every day. I just want to rip it off. I know we all feel that way. But because of the controversy with this, and if we are going to still meet in person, which I think is very effective for us to do that, I still would like to ask if we could work into that motion that we will all agree to wear masks at the meetings.
Is that a motion to amend?
I'll make a motion to amend to say that we would like to ask everyone to wear masks at the meetings for the next 4 meetings only.
Second.
First, a motion on the amendment.
First, let's do the motion on the amendment. Any discussion?
This is on the amendment to ask demand. Okay, so my comment on that is we already have a mask mandate from the governor. My guess is it gets thrown out by the Supreme Court at some point, but put that aside. We have a sign in the front of the building that tells us to wear a mask. I am not going to vote in favor of additional restrictions on other people on this council for whatever reason. I don't know what's going on in other people's heads. I decided to wear one tonight because of the increasing numbers. And also because of my position. We're trying to stay safe but open. So I'm not going to put my decision on that on someone else. I don't think our body should dictate that. It's already there. There's a reason for people not to do it.
Alderman Spiegelberg.
We are not currently under a mask mandate. We're under an executive order that's in an advisory type of situation.
I don't think that's true.
Yeah, I do.
It wasn't advisory. The stay at home was an advisory. The mask was a mandate.
I think the mask mandate ended on November 7th, and then he came back out on the 10th and said he was issuing another executive order that was an advisory type of thing to wear masks, social distance, wash hands, and all that. You did mention the CDC, and we can go back and forth. Some people say it's more harmful to wear a mask. Some say it's effective to wear a mask. It seems to be that the scales tend to tip to wear a mask to protect others around you. I guess I'm only asking in this amendment to the motion to say, can we agree to do that for the next 4 meetings?
Any further discussion?
Point of order. Are we, from a point of order, we need to approve the amendment or the original motion made and then the amendment?
We're on the amendment.
We're on the amendment.
Amendment first, yeah.
I'd like to call roll, please.
I understand what
Oops.
you're saying.
Oh, sorry.
You're right.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I
missed you.
understand your point, Matt. I think it's a good point. and this, maybe this isn't even worth debating, I just don't fundamentally feel that it's right as a body to be asking our staff to do one thing that we're unwilling to do ourselves for whatever reason, whether it's, if there's a physiological reason that you cannot wear a mask, then wear a shield. We are not socially distanced, Lou. This is not a safe environment. That is just false. It's not true. And I don't understand how we can be trying to talk to our community about being safe when one of the most effective things is wearing a mask and we're unwilling to do it in this body. I don't understand that mentality. I hear it from my constituents, and it's, in my mind, that's valid.
Alderman Kavieski?
So this debate obviously is robust and is more robust in our community. Again, I am proposing in what I've put forth that the social distancing be increased. We have physical barriers in between us currently, and I would suggest, that, well, if I won't even go there. The effort to make this safe for all, our staff, as well as those who sit on this body, is what we need to take into consideration. The motion that I made allows our mayor and our administrator the operational flexibility to find the venue best served for that and the structure that best serves for that, along with the technology component that brings those who can't make it for whatever reason they find in virtually. If somebody has already had COVID, you expect they wear a mask? If somebody has got emotional issues, do you expect that they wear a mask? Is it your right to know what their physical and health conditions are? They're not obligated to share that with you, me, or anybody on this body. And to try to limit those on this body or associated with these meetings and violate their right to that privacy, I think is beyond our scope. There are guidelines. Again, I wore my mask into the building. I'm not wearing it now because I have a physical barrier in between me and the next closest person. And I'm not gonna reach around and try to blow them a kiss.
We all
And
hope not.
I'm not trying to make light of it. I have parents that are compromised. I have in-laws who are compromised. I take proper precautions. They have not gotten it to imply that because I'm sitting here without my mask, I don't care about anybody around me, infuriates me. And I won't do that to anybody else on this body or in this community. And the only people that I see trying to make somebody comply is to imply that they don't care about those around them, and I do. So I will not support the amendment. I do fully support that this body and our mayor and our administrator take further precautions as we have seen our numbers go up until such time as we've seen that trend go down and subside, which it's a roller coaster every year. I'm sure it's not going to be the last, but we need that flexibility as a body that represents our community and our constituents, and I will continue to move to support that.
Alderman Spiegelberg?
I think in this amendment, we are asking people to kindly consider wearing a mask, as Matt said, as we ask our staff to do here. But I don't believe that we have the capability to enforce that, which I think is true. At this point, I'd like to call point of order and vote on the amendment.
Well, it's calling the question, but I think if there's more debate, yeah, if there's more debate, you're going to
Made a
foreclose.
motion to call the question. There is no debate until there's a second and a vote on calling the question. I heard a motion. Is there a second to the motion? Sorry, Mayor.
That's okay. That helped.
I don't hear a second.
So you're asking for a second to bring the vote yeah, I'll second that, yeah.
Oh, no,
But what?
There's no debate on calling the question,
unbelievable.
but if, vote against
Unbelievable.
it, and then you
Yeah.
can continue to continue to argue.
Debate then after.
Well, we're talking about the amendment right now. I think we had the debate on the amendment, haven't we?
Yes.
But it doesn't matter. Vote
Okay.
on the calling the question and bring an end to debate.
Can I take a roll call on that?
Just on the amendment though, right? That
Correct.
we're ending the debate.
No, on ending debate.
Oh, no, I won't second that then. I thought it was just for the amendment, I'm sorry.
All right, I'm going to retract my,
Yeah.
Any further discussion?
Yeah,
no, I'm going to retract my motion to call the question.
thanks. And I don't think we need to beat the dead horse, but I think to try to bring this back to, I think Karen actually made a really good point, which is this will be hard to enforce if we do this. I don't think, if the governor doesn't have a mandate now and that's not in place, I don't think we should try to be mandating things here. If we can't enforce it, then it is kind of more of a virtue signal. Again, I feel like I'm kind of being drawn between both sides. I've decided to wear a mask tonight because of increasing numbers. But I'm not gonna dictate my will to other people on the council in order for them to come and exercise their right to represent their constituents. And that's really what we're trying to do. So I'm against the amendment. I think we should just let it ride. We have a sign up front that says wear a mask when you enter. If people are doing that and then they sit down, the original mask mandate actually had an exemption for speaking and drinking while you're talking, and Lou does a lot of talking, so.
Alderman Spiegelberg?
I would like to keep the suggestion for wearing a mask in the amendment, and that is in response to feedback from our constituents. And I'm trying to be very sensitive to that. I know this is a very tough issue. It's tough on both sides of this. But I'd like to keep that suggestion in the amendment. Again, we can't enforce it. It's not a mandate. But I would like to keep the suggestion in there to have that out in front of people, that is somewhat of an expectation, but obviously we can't mandate that or enforce that.
Alderman Kavieski?
So I just want to make sure, Karen, that I understand the amendment correctly as we look to vote on it. Originally, I understood that the amendment was a mandatory requirement that you have a mask on if you're attending the live session. That is not a mandate. It is a suggestion that already exists in social settings. And we're just looking, are we looking to reinforce that as a suggestion, not a mandate?
Alderman Spiegelberg?
Great, thank you. I never used the word mandate, and I never used the word mandatory.
You used ask. You said ask.
Thank you. Oh, my wonderful note keeper over here. So I used the word ask, that we would ask all council members to consider wearing a mask and any other individuals that are present at the time. So and just for the record, I never used the word mandate or mandatory, so.
Any further discussion? Call roll, please, on the amendment to the motion.
Alderman Rozak.
Nay.
Alderman Ellis.
Nay.
Alderman Spiegelberg.
Aye.
Alderman Mulder.
Aye.
Alderman Shellpepper.
Nay.
Alderman Kavieski.
Nay.
Alderman Rogers.
Nay.
Move on, we have another, the original motion. Any further discussion on the original motion?
Can you restate the original motion, please?
Diane?
To make an effort to create a virtual option with in-person attendance and potentially another location that can facilitate the meetings. And then Alderman Rozak added, with staff not attending if not needed or by virtual.
Alderman Mulder?
So I'm going to support this. It wouldn't be my first choice. I do think a virtual option would be best. That's my estimation not going to pass, so I'm not going to put that forward. I think this is a good compromise. I like the idea of potentially using the new facilities at the public safety building. So overall, I think it's a good resolution if we get there.
I just got to make a comment because you
Lori?
keep saying change the location. If we do a virtual option, a hybrid option, it has to be here. or no one will be able to see the people that are here. You will only be able to see who is on the screen. Okay? Because this is where we have cameras, this is where we have the live stream.
Can I just ask a question while you're up there, Lori? What is the capacity of the courtroom versus the capacity of this room? Because I believe that this room is about the same size capacity-wise.
That could be.
It looks about the same. About the same.
This room has a capacity of 91, according to the plaque on the wall. The public safety facility multipurpose room is seating for 150.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
But that's.
But when was the last time we had 50 people in here? Oh, I know. Never mind.
Thackeray Trail.
Waterview condo.
Ballpark, yeah.
Park.
Thackeray Trail.
Our
Alderman
virtual
Schell.
option has the ability to have 200 people online at one time.
Wow. Okay.
Alderman Shell Pepper.
Okay, so do we need to amend the motion then, that we're not going to be holding it in a different location? This will be the location that we're holding it at? Because it sounded to me that we can't have it somewhere else, right?
No, it was a suggestion that if we need
Correct.
to move somewhere else, the staff,
Okay, so
We
there's that,
we
and
can
then,
look for other options, is
Correct.
how I interpreted. Is that
agree.
correct?
Yes, I believe our ordinance mandates that it's here unless council provides otherwise. And this, this motion provides the operational flexibility for our mayor and for our administrator to find alternate location if so needed, to ensure social distancing and the proper precautions are made during this spike.
okay, I just want to make sure that we have a sunset on this as well. So are we sticking with the
Yeah.
4 meetings then for this as well? I mean, I just, if we just say, well, we'll leave it up to the, the administrator and the mayor to figure it out, that's fine for a temporary amount of time, but we should, kind of have a limit on when we want to reevaluate that to make sure it's still fitting with the needs of the community and the council, so.
So the motion will be to sunset February 1st. That'll take us through the end of January, which is, I think, what everybody's looking for.
Yeah, what I would suggest is that it's put on the agenda for the last council meeting in January, so it's defined if that change of venue is made.
if that was an amendment to your original motion, the second will have to agree.
I agree.
Any further Alderman Rozak?
Yeah, I think it's a good compromise. I think this is great debate. I mean, to debate these issues is important, and what we're doing in person here is exactly why I think this compromise is a good idea, and I hope that when you guys operationally figure this out, you spread us out a little bit more, like we did back in March and April, because I think that was more effective. I don't want to sit at the kids' table, but I'm okay if that makes it work, so.
I will, Matt.
Oh,
That's
you'll sit
fine.
at the kids'
That's
table? Okay.
perfectly fine.
Put you in the closet.
Thank you.
As long as there's
Alderman-
turkey and dressing, right?
Alderman Spielberg.
Maybe
And
some whiskey.
it was wonderful conversation, and however, and it is a good compromise, and I know we'll make it work, and I know we'll be safe. However, because of the feedback from my constituents, I'm still going to be voting against it, so.
Call roll, please.
Alderman Rozak.
Aye.
Alderman Ellis.
Aye.
Alderman Spiegelberg.
Nay.
Alderman Mulder.
Aye.
Alderman Shell Pepper.
Aye.
Alderman Kavieski.
Aye.
Alderman Rogers.
Aye.
Let's move on then to staff reports. We have something happy to share with our staff reports. Our city administrator, it's wonderful to have you here, Matt. So if you can share this with the group, that would be great.
Oh, thank you, Mayor.
I don't know if the button is on. There's a
Right
little
on the
button,
side here.
right, yeah. It should be green, Matt.
There it goes.
No, all right.
Thank you.
All right, I just have a report. So I'm pleased to inform the city council and the general public that in October of this year, Kevin Freeberg with the City of Oconomowoc Wastewater Utility was presented with the Wisconsin Wastewater Operators Association Pete Elbers and Leo Templeton Service Award. This award is presented to a person who has made an outstanding contribution to the Wisconsin Wastewater Operators Association in the areas of promotion, operation, management, program participation, or education. It has been given to a deserving individual since 1975. Kevin joined WWOA in 1986 and was elected to the Board of Directors in 2008. He served as vice president from 2011 to 2012 and president from 2013 to 2014. From 2015 to the present, he has been active in WWOA Manufacturers and Consultants Exhibits Committee, and in 2016 was elected chairman of the Permanent Arrangement Committee. In 2007, he was Southern District Operator of the Year. Please join me in congratulating Kevin, who is here with us tonight on this well-deserved achievement, with a round of applause. Thank you, Kevin.
Great reflection. Thank you very much, Kevin. Wonderful. Do we have any other further staff reports? Anything I'm not aware of? Let's move on to reports and comments from the aldermen. Any comments? Alderman Ellis.
I have a question. Just the other day, I was driving by Collins Street and was looking at the parking. I think it looks really nice. I really do. I think they did a really good job, but I do have a question that I'd like to be at least talked about, and that is half the sidewalk is in concrete and the other half is not. And it was my understanding that the money that we allocated for this project was going to bring this whole project to fruition. So you can help me understand that, I'd appreciate it.
Sure, and, you know, it was our intention as we completed the design of the parking lot that we knew with the reconstruction of Collins Street being done a year later, which will be in 2021, we had an elevation difference between what the street is at now, where the street will be, to match into the parking lot. And so the decision was made during the design, actually, to put in a temporary walkway, the asphalt, in order to have a sidewalk there until we go in and start doing the street construction. Apologize if that wasn't brought out when we talked about the design, because we did have a lot of discussion about the parking lot. And I do apologize if I didn't bring that point out and make it clear to the council, but this was something that we had planned, because there's a definite elevation difference of where that walkway is now compared to where it will be.
Because that was just shocking to me. I just didn't understand. After, you know, it looks so good, and then you get to that point, you're like, oh dear, what just happened?
But they'll be new next year, is that correct?
Correct.
When the Collins
Now-
Street gets redone, it'll be new.
Yes.
Now, the money that was allocated for that project, do we have to now go out and rebid for that part of the sidewalk, or is that money, or do we not have to rebid for it?
So it'll be part of the street reconstruction that'll be bid out in the next month or so, which will be part of the $1 million levy amount that we carry. So it'll be part of the project for next year. We'll remove the asphalt that's there and put in curb and gutter and concrete sidewalk.
I don't know, I just think that's kind of redundant. I think we should have just gone ahead and put the sidewalk in with the understanding that the street was going to be done at some point. I think we're educated and knowledgeable enough, and I have a lot of faith in our people to be able to understand the differences in the levels and be able to put it in. I think that we're actually kind of creating additional work that I don't think was really necessary. I think we really could have finished it off and then waited next year and then put in the Collins Street, but.
I can assure you that if it had been possible to place that, we would have.
Okay.
But there is an elevation difference there, so that is why we did the temporary walk.
I don't ever remember having that conversation, and maybe, you know, it slipped my mind, but thank you for clarifying that for me.
So,
Any-
Mark, my date nights in town always now end with a drive-by the parking lot to check on its status.
That's a
and
date night.
Ooh, that's exciting.
By the parking lot in Oconomowoc, and my wife came home today after being at Fray to check out some new fashions and was excited to tell me that the lot looked like it was almost complete. So slow it down or I'll have no more date nights.
Yeah, and I can update everybody, the lot did get surfaced, which, you know, we're very glad because this is a tough time of year for putting asphalt down. The pavement marking was completed today. The only thing that's being held up right now is all the parking lot lighting. Unfortunately, COVID hit the subcontractor who's in charge of pulling the wires, installing the poles, and putting in the control cabinet for the wiring. We're hoping to get that done yet before Thanksgiving.
Alderman Ellis.
I just want to also, I want to commend you. When we first talked about doing this parking lot and we only had 3 days in which to do it, I didn't doubt you. I had the faith that I knew you could get it done, and you did. I want to commend you for that. It really looks good.
I appreciate that, thank you. There was a lot of people behind getting this thing done. Behind me,
Like the Verizon guy.
but there was a lot. We had a great contractor, things worked out well. Our utilities, everybody had moved stuff, everybody worked hard, worked together in a small space. So there's a lot of compliments to go around, but I appreciate that and I will be sure to pass it on.
I'd appreciate if you.
Alderman Kavieski.
I don't need you for this one. Thank you so much, though. I echo, yeah. Yeah. I just, the topic of how we conduct our business was done respectfully, and there were good points made up and brought forward. It is continued conversation within our community, within the businesses, within those who visit those businesses. And I hope what we did in our agreement, our compromise to stay safe, shows the community that we are listening, that we are doing what we need to do, and we can do that in a way that is constructive and moves everything forward. That is important for our community to realize that these conversations can end constructively and move forward. So hopefully that is something that you can take back to your constituents and your districts and say, this is how we should be communicating with each other, not only here in council, but in our neighborhoods, with our friends, with our family, because they are our friends and our family, and we do see them and we do talk to them on a regular basis, and we can do that in this challenging time, as long as we are respectful to each other.
Alderman Spiegelberg.
Thanks for that, Alderman Kavieski. I appreciate that. I think this is affecting people in a lot of different ways. I have a daughter and a son-in-law who had both gotten it, have recovered. It was fairly mild. Now I have a brother and his wife who have it. I just talked to him on the phone, and he said it's literally kicking his butt. So people are affected in different ways, and I've never wanted to panic about that. That's not in my nature. But this was a good discussion tonight, and I just would like to go forward with everyone just kind of respecting where everybody's at with this, because everybody's been in different situations. Some people are a little bit more cautious with things. Some people, are going about things just in a careful way, but not as cautious or restrictive. So I guess I would just like to say that we need to keep going forward, having these conversations and being respectful of everyone, no matter how they're dealing with this or how they're proceeding. Yes, sir? You have something else? Oh.
Alderman Kavieski.
I almost forgot. Next week is Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Happy Thanksgiving to all of you and to our community. There is a lot to be thankful for, even in these challenging times. So I neglected to mention that. Thank you for allowing me to do and say that.
Thanks. Alderman Rozak.
Yeah, I think we neglected to welcome, at least some of us have, Matt. We all kind of said thank you, and we all welcomed you like 2 months ago, and then you weren't here. And then now all of a sudden you're here. We walk in and you're here. So welcome. As you can tell, it's a fun council. We have very robust debates. I think we all get along, and we're all here for the community. So we welcome you to the community. I know you're planning to move here shortly, and I think you'll love it here, and I think you'll have a very rewarding second part of your career, maybe second half of your career, give or take. Okay.
Long career.
Yeah, thank you.
The end of your
Here.
career here.
And remember, and I'll echo what Lou said. Remember, it's Thanksgiving coming up, and that Thanksgiving, at least in the original Thanksgiving, was a time for people to come together in America. And I think it still should be a time for us to come together and remember the things that God has done for our country and for our people. So, with that, that's all I have. Thanks.
Any further comments from Alderman? I have a few comments, and I've been struggling on how to phrase them in the positive and productive way. Over the last couple months, our staff has worked diligently to try to create a really safe environment here in City Hall. Currently, we have people that will not come to City Hall because they don't feel it's safe, and that's not good for our constituents. We ripped the city clerks out of their workspace with less than 2 weeks before an election, threw them in a space to make it work because we're trying to spread everybody out for COVID. I like the ideas of looking for other spaces and doing more to have the social distancing here. I struggle in my position as mayor because I'm a business executive. I want to keep all of our businesses open. I struggle because I'm a medical professional and I'm a trained professional, and I understand viruses, I understand diseases. Because of that, I'm making these comments and then we move on. I'm disappointed with the decision by the council, because I think 4 meetings virtually is not too much to ask to try. During a time when we have hunting going on, we have Thanksgiving coming up, we have Christmas, we have New Year's. I think that's the prudent and the responsible thing for us to do as our city in a time when our numbers are really, really bad. Council has spoken. Council, you are the policymakers of our community. I respect that. I understand and I like the dynamic discussions. I don't have to agree with you. And when I don't agree with you on important issues, I'm going to phrase it like I'm phrasing now. I will support your decision, and Matt and I will work hard together to try to look for other venues, change the setup, do everything we can, because the only thing we're allowed to do now is affect social distancing. And we'll do our best to do that. But I have to say, on a personal note, I think we're making the wrong decision. And I'm the last person that wants to keep a mask on my face. I am the last person that wants to have virtual meetings. I hate Zoom. I'd like to use a different 4-letter word instead of Zoom for that platform. So I think it's important, as Alderman Rozak just stated, that we all have these good, constructive conversations. But several of the comments that were made I disagree with, and that's okay. But we have our directive. As your mayor and as our city administrator, we're going to execute that directive to the best of our ability, and we'll move on from here. I do want to apologize to our city staff and to our department heads who have a lot of these same concerns. And when you look at what's happening within our community, within our staff, with regard to COVID, it saddens me, and I will now let it go. So I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?